Welcome to the Candid Creative Podcast with Manda and Lys,
where we're all about growth, innovation, and keeping it candid.
Tune in every week for sharp insights and real talk on the creative business world.
Stay ahead of the curve with our mix of expert advice, industry secrets, and inspirational stories. And remember,
your next idea is just one episode away. Okay, so let's start with the listener submission today. I'm really excited because I think these are the first, well, we've had a couple listener submissions, but these were the first that we got on our actual Instagram page. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I really think that we have a very specific audience. I think our people know that there are people, because these are some spicy, unpopular opinions, and some people just got on here, I think, just to say things. Like, they're not even like unpopular opinions. They're just like a statement. Anyways, I was really surprised by the spiciness of a lot of these. And
are you more than one?
What's that?
Just gonna go through them.
No, we'll keep it to just a couple, maybe. We'll see how long this goes. Okay, so I think, let's see. What do we have? Yeah, let's just read through like 4 of them. Publications requiring... Okay, so these are essentially... Most of these, I think, are unpopular opinions. But also, they're kind of just popular, so I don't know. Either way, publications requiring you to pay to be preferred, quote unquote, just to be credited in bigger font. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty much standard nowadays. Well, it's like the pay to play stuff. Like
yeah, we actually have a podcast about that, kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, where we talked about that. Yeah, I think it's just very common nowadays. And to be honest, publications are also a business. You know, they got to make money somehow too.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's like businesses can charge whatever they want for whatever they want. Like, as a service, if you're getting something out of it, I think it makes sense to pay for it. If you want to be in a publication and they're like, okay, you have to pay, then that's just what the reality is. It's like, if someone wants to be a member of Flowering Minds or Mae Co Monthly and they're like, I want to be a member and not pay, I'd be like, okay, thank you for letting me know. Yeah. That's not how it works. Like, I don't know, if you're getting something from someone else's business, it's the businesses, like, they can determine.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Charge you.
Yep, I agree.
Take it or leave it.
And there are publications out there that don't charge anything to be, well, and actually, I mean, this person is specifically saying just to get credited in a bigger font, which means that you could potentially just be on that publication and not pay and have your name not in a bigger font. And then they're just charging you to be in a bigger font. You know what I mean?
I thought you meant that this person who typed this was said the end in all caps. Like, I thought you were saying, I thought you were telling me that that's what they said in a bigger font.
You think I am? First off. Second off, I don't even think that's possible on here.
Oh my God. Okay, can you read it?
A pretty mild reaction for thinking that I described
capitalization with a bigger font.
Exactly.
I was like, I don't understand anything you just said.
Oh my God. Okay. Next one. This one's funny. Vendors oversaying, quote, never over it, unquote, in IG comments and captions. Just say that you'll always love it. I honestly have never seen someone say never over it. Is that a thing people are saying?
I've never seen that. I can tell you lots of things I don't like that people say. But that's like not one of them.
Dead, D-E-D, dead.
Yeah, dead. Or like say it louder for people in the back or whatever.
What? These are some of my faves. I love cliche lines though. I love saying D-E-D. More of an ironic thing though, not serious.
I honestly can't think of anything right now. Maybe someday I'll come up with a list. I have it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't think of the main one. people say.
Say it louder for people in the back always gets me amped up too.
I like it when people comment that though on my posts, but it means it resonated with them. So I appreciate it, but I don't know.
Okay, next.
Yeah.
Okay. This person says, hate it when coordinators credit themselves as planners when, and I'll say this for you, Lys, in a bigger font, she said, we all know, and then a smaller font, that there's no planner. It's the florist who designed the whole damn thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Can you read that one more time? I don't know why. I'm a visual person, so it's hard for me. I could be looking at these, but.
Okay. Hate it when coordinators credit themselves as planners when we all know that if there is no planner, it's the florist who designed the whole damn thing.
Coordinators shouldn't call themselves planners? Is that the statement there? I just don't understand that.
Well, I don't know. She kind of has two different statements. Hate it when coordinators credit themselves as planners, but then she says, we all know if there's no planner that the florist designed the whole thing. So I'm like, as planners or designers?
Equal designer.
I know. It kind of contradicts itself a little bit here.
I don't know. I think florists are amazing, and I think that without flowers, things can look pretty. Like, I think they definitely create beautiful things. But I also don't like. I don't know. It depends on your experience with planners. Like, I work with you, and I would. Can you imagine? I was like, Manda thinks she's designed this. Those are my flowers. Because you and Johnny are like getting every detail. Moving the silverware, flatware, whatever, the chairs, every single thing is curated. So I can see if you've worked with a planner who like just goes with whatever white linens come for free or whatever. Yeah. And then it's all the free stuff and then the flowers are added. I can see how the florist would be like, I did this. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the attitude overall.
Yeah, I think they're just probably two different points. And a planner is not a designer, but I do know that a lot of people automatically assume that. Like if you planned a wedding, you also designed it. So I understand the point there. Also, when coordinators call themselves the planners, which is always kind of funny because when I was just doing day of coordinating way back when, I never said that I was the planner. I always said I was the coordinator. So I can see why it would be frustrating if a coordinator called them planner, though that doesn't really affect a florist's life. But if a planner, I guess, or a coordinator were to call themselves the designer, when technically a coordinator just like comes on site and coordinates everything, and then in that case, the florist is probably the one who at least designed the florals. I mean, I know different florists do different things. I don't know. Anyways, kind of all convoluted, and there's not really.
This person was probably in a frustrating situation.
Yeah. Yep.
Or has been several times.
Yeah. And I can see a lot of sides of it. Anyways, next. Vendors passing off styled shoots as real weddings to prove that they are a, quote, luxury vendor. I
have many thoughts.
I just feel very strongly it's crazy that anyone would say that that's not okay, because I think it's marketing, just like any other industry markets for any person or clientele that they're trying to market to. I think styled shoots are part of wedding vendors' marketing, period. So whoever you decide to market to and whatever you want to make that look like, why does it matter?
You are allowed to open a business and serve a client that you've never served before.
Mm-hmm.
How do you attract, like that's literally what most businesses do. Like, you think like a Thai food restaurant, they haven't had a single client yet because no one knows about them. But they need to create marketing, so they create a Thai feast on a table.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say like, no one really ate that. No one really ordered that food. So you're really going to try to pass yourself off as a Thai restaurant? I know no one ate that food in that picture. No one ordered that food. None of your clients ever ordered that much food before. Therefore, you're not allowed to advertise that as your product.
Exactly.
It's like, that's how you get the clients. It is marketing. And you're allowed to do that. That's how you run. That's how you open a business and go for that American dream.
I feel like this, especially in the wedding industry, or maybe just the creative industry, I'm not sure, but people get so, I don't know, man. There are just crazy expectations, or you know what? It's probably the fact that a lot of people in a creative industry are in the creative industry because they want to be creative and they maybe don't understand like the business aspect or sides or marketing and all those things, right? That's like pretty normal. And then there's a lot of shame put on like anything that anyone has an opinion about. So I feel like a lot of the coaching calls that I have with photographers or videographers, actually probably anyone, where they're like, am I allowed to call myself luxury if I'm not in the luxury market? And I'm like, well, you want to be in the luxury market. You don't have to say, not yet in the luxury, but I'm willing to do your luxury wedding in order to be able to call myself luxury. Like, that's not marketing. You choose what your business, what clientele you're trying to attract, and you market to that clientele. You don't just say like, here's
not a badge of, it's not like a, it's not a diploma you earn. Like, and I really think it's people who maybe they've had a really hard time getting into the luxury market because they didn't do that. And now they finally have luxury weddings. So they kind of feel like protective over it, and they don't like seeing other people tap into it by doing these photo shoots. But it's like, it is just a smart business move to show people what you're capable of, because you're only going to sell what's in your portfolio. Unless you are, dare I say the word, privileged. Let's just say, like, this is how you go from nothing into a successful business. Like, otherwise, luxury markets would only be available to people who have, who are friends and family with rich people.
Correct. Absolutely.
And if you're not friends and family with a bunch of rich people, this is the only way to get into the luxury market, is to have photo shoots, show what you're capable of, and earn your way there. So 100%. I think it's silly to say you're not allowed to do that.
Agreed.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. We very much agree on that. Okay, great. Catering should be releasing tables for a buffet, not the planner. 100%, girlfriend. Agreed. Catering.
I don't know anything about this. So sure.
I know. I was like, Alyssa's not going to have anything to say.
Give me the food. Just someone release it.
I very much agree that is not the planner's job. Okay, moving right along. Photographers are gods. This is an unpopular opinion. Is this an unpopular opinion or just an? I don't think this person likes.
Unpopular, or is it just something no one's ever thought before?
I think this person is trying to say they don't like this opinion. Like, this is an opinion people have that they don't agree with. And that is, but I think probably if we were going with unpopular opinions, they would mean to say that photographers are not gods. Or maybe they are saying they think photographers are gods, but I actually happen to know this person, and I don't think that's what they're saying.
Photographer saying that?
No, it's a planner. And I'm assuming it's a planner who's jaded by the fact that sometimes photographers are treated really, really, really well.
Or maybe they haven't treated her very well or something.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think depending on what market you're in, and honestly just who you work with and such, especially as a planner, oftentimes, this isn't specific to photographers, but a lot of other vendors get a lot of credit for what they do instead of, I mean, this is something I could talk about forever, but definitely planners, in my opinion, in like the mid-range budget market and below, planners are very undervalued. They're very much looked at as like not a necessity. They're kind of like, leave or take or whatever. Whereas a photographer is like, I will do anything to make my photographer happy, and to, and other vendors too. So I think this person has probably just had bad experiences with that. And I think you grow out of that as you get into higher end markets where people understand that a planner is literally the person who does everything. Not that either one profession even is more important than the other. Like, obviously there's a reason why people think photographers are gods. So it's...
Well, I think I tend to get more fame And then I think it can go to their heads. Like I've definitely worked with photographers where I'm like, give me a break. Got a bunch of Instagram followers. I know.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're all humans here doing our parts that we're hired for.
I do. Yeah. The wedding industry is a tough one. That's all I'll say. Moving right along. All right. Let's do our last one. I can't tell if these are unpopular or they're just, I don't understand. These aren't unpopular opinions. These are like opinions that there's just opinions.
Well, all opinions are unpopular these days.
That's true. Actually, if you have an opinion, it's probably unpopular. Okay. If you are a vendor in the wedding industry, you should have an online payment system. Great advice. Next.
I don't know. We can talk about that.
You want to talk about that? I think that's like a no-brainer. Yes, every vendor in the wedding industry should have an online payment system. You disagree?
I think I always took checks and I will still take checks to this day.
Oh, yeah, that's personal preference. But
you lose a huge chunk when you're doing those over and over again. And some states it's illegal for you to charge credit card fees.
Right. Well, you can wrap it up into your prices though.
Yeah.
Talk.
Sure. It's probably a good idea.
I work with a lot of vendors who only take wires. Yeah. But I guess even if you don't have an online payment system, to me, at least have a very clear system on how you prefer to get paid. I don't like it when I have to say, how do you want to get paid? Okay, well, can you send me this information and this? Like, have a PDF document you send to me with your wire instructions and say, this is how I take payment. Don't make me ask you 400 questions.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
I agree. You don't have to have an online payment system. I agree.
Yeah. I agree that it's a freaking lot easier, but yeah. Anyway.
That makes sense. Did we say that was our last one? Feels pretty anticlimactic now on that one. Yeah, this was my favorite one.
I know. I was like, you didn't read the one I thought you were going to read. I try to keep it casual. Oh yeah, this one. I have barely thought about it.
I'm trying not to get too heated this morning. I don't have the same fire inside me that I did the first time I read this, but this is someone else's opinion. It's cliquey. This is on the wedding industry. I assume this person's in the wedding industry because they say it's cliquey. Wedding planners would rather hire friends versus the best interest to the couple. If you'd like to know more of my opinions on this, you can go look at Mae Co Monthly's Instagram posts where I talk about why this is BS in my opinion. But here's the thing. This is mostly all that I'll say about this. It's literally a planner's job to surround themselves and work with the people who they trust the most and who will do the best job for them and for their client, whether that's their friend or someone else. It's literally a planner's job to be able to trust someone as an extension of themselves and their business and their company. And every single vendor that we put our name on is us taking a chance and taking a risk to say, I vouch for this person, and if this person does a shit job, 100% it will come back on me, not on that person. Maybe 10% of it will go back onto that vendor, but 90% of it goes back on the planner if a vendor doesn't do their job properly. So yes, planners absolutely choose people that they can trust the most, and whatever means they come to that by, whether it's, again, their friend or just a vendor they've worked with really well. Do I agree that planners should choose whoever is in best interest of their client? Yes, absolutely. Do I think that doesn't always align with potentially someone you're friends with too? No, I think that's a planner gets to make that decision either way. If a planner is choosing people just because they're friends and it has no benefit to the client whatsoever, then that planner has a lot to learn, and at some point that's not probably going to go very well for them. But I think a lot of the times other people get confused and they think that planner is just using that person because they're friends, when really that person is using those people because they trust those people. And that's their job and their prerogative. They get to do that. That's like one of the few privileges that planners get. And I will fight for them for it.
I will say I have seen planners choose friends when it didn't make sense design-wise. Mm-hmm. And that is annoying when you aren't getting events that you want. So it's generally just annoying if you're like struggling in business. Yeah. Right. So I feel like I can understand. I'm not saying like, yeah, get annoyed by it, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I think you're more prone to notice this and be annoyed by it if you're not getting
for sure
events that you wish you were getting. And I've definitely seen planners do it blindly and it didn't make any sense. And I thought it's really not a smart move.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, go become friends with them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not saying
friendship takes time too.
Did you say that takes time?
Friendship takes time. Like I have planner or florist actually just last week in a coaching call saying like, I don't really know what to do. All the planners in my areas already have relationships. Like there's just basically no hope for my business. To which I'm like, this is like relationships are relationships. Like you can't just email a planner and then be disappointed they didn't hire you.
Yes.
A month later. Like you literally have to plant a seed for a friendship to grow. Mm-hmm. And it can't be this weird forced thing where like you just want something from them. Like you have friendship takes a while and friendships change too. So just because a planner's using someone over and over again doesn't mean they're going to use them over and over again, literally for eternity. That goes against the law of the world. Like nothing stays the same forever. Yeah. So like you have to just know like, I could probably build a friendship with this person and eventually work with them, but it's going to take time.
Yeah. I also feel like if you're a new vendor in the industry, then do some research and find other new vendors in the industry and become friends with them before they make those relationships. Like the wedding industry is like an ever evolving industry, just like anything else. And people, start and they go on rises and you can put yourself in front of a new planner and become one of those people that they trust instead of trying to break into potentially a circle that a planner has created that's a lot harder to break into because it is harder and it should be harder for sure. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. To me, friends are not. So me and Alyssa obviously are great friends. And even if Alyssa's style was a little bit different than the one I wanted for a wedding, to me, if I'm assessing the risk here, it would make more sense for me to say, Alyssa, you and I are friends. I can openly chat with you about exactly what I want. And we can try and communicate about can you make these style changes? Can you do this and this and this for my client? I can have that open communication with you because I'm comfortable with you and I trust you and I'm friends with you. To me, that's a much lesser risk than me going and finding someone based on only style who I don't know at all. I have no idea if they'll execute the same thing in person. I have no idea if I'll be able to work with them well. I have no idea if they'll treat my client well. Like you have to really understand the risk assessment I think that a planner has to make. So again, I don't agree with choosing someone solely based on being friends if it literally makes absolutely no sense for your client. But I think seeing it from the other side of it is a lot of the time it does make more sense to choose someone that you're close with.
Yeah. But again, those things change. So
yeah,
when you were hiring me, like the main florist you use now, would freelance for me when you were hiring me. Mm-hmm. And I was freelancing for some florists that you used to hire more when you're doing different styles of weddings. Like styles change, relationships change.
Yep.
Become a better florist, quite frankly, if you're like not getting... You don't have to cut this out, Hayden. I mean it. Seriously, like if you're not getting the work you want to get, don't feel frustration towards people not hiring you. Just become so good that they can't ignore you. That's a book and you should read it. It is. What is it? Become so good they can't ignore you or something? I don't know.
I've never heard of it, but I like it.
I read that. That was one of my very first books when I started my business. And I was like, that makes sense. I'm just going to become so good that like I'm an obvious choice.
Yes. Love that. Love that. All right. That's our last opinion, apparently. Not unpopular, just opinions. It's our last listener submission that we're going to read for the day. Let's dive into business.
So today we are going to get down to business and talk about digital products, to offer them or to not offer them as a creative entrepreneur.
That is the question. And me and Alyssa haven't talked about this pre-podcast. So, Alyssa, what do you think? Should they or shouldn't
this
they?
originally got brought up because I was like, Manda, did you see that wedding vendor person is coming out with a course on how to create digital products for wedding vendors? And we then kind of were like, what do we think about that? And I was like, well, I think it's smart to have something you can sell where there's not like a ton of labor directly involved. Amanda was like, whoa. There's definitely labor involved. I was like, yeah, I guess that's pretty true. So I will just say that to that, I have tried to coach people to creating digital products, and some of them have panned out, some of them have not. Like I told Manda she should start a membership. And I was just telling people that willy-nilly and irresponsibly so. I was taking it for granted how much work I was doing because I wasn't really even noticing how much work I was doing because I just get obsessed.
Which Alyssa does a lot, by the way.
I am learning a lot about myself. And then I'm like, this is how you do it. It's easy. You just create this funnel. You write 20 emails. You create a course, and then you create the whole website, and then you get some audio equipment and you film yourself, and then you market it every day. I mean, it's like not that big of a deal. And I've told people that, and I just saw it just like not work. And they were just like, I don't really understand how you're selling this. And then Manda has a similar brain to mine and took it, your membership took right off. With a lot of work.
Right.
We just equally get engrossed in the work, I think. So all that to say, yeah, I don't take it for granted as much anymore. And I don't necessarily think it's a great, easy path for just anyone to do.
I tell Alyssa this a lot because she will oftentimes be like, I found this great new marketing tool. And then I ask questions, and then I'm like, that sounds like it's going to take me a month to dive into and to learn. And I understand that it's working really well. I don't have a month to spend on it right now. And she's like, no, it's easy. And I'm like, I understand it's easy once you figure it out in a month, but I can't. But yeah, so I think when me and Alyssa were talking about that person who's coming out with a course on making a digital product, I almost never tell anyone that I'm coaching or anything to do a digital product because I have a lot of experience, I think, selling digital products with all of my businesses. And first off, I think to actually create like a decent digital product, it takes a lot of time. And even if it takes a day or 2 days or whatever, and if you have that free time, great. Absolutely have at it. But once you have a digital product, you can't just let it live. And even if you do, it's not going to make you enough money that it even makes sense for the hours that you put into it. You have to consistently market that stuff still. Like nothing's just going to passively bring you income unless you're consistently marketing it.
A lot. You have to market a lot. Like it's your full-time job.
100%.
Like you're still doing wedding planning, but people are like, you're not doing events anymore? Like I had to choose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, so for instance, on Immersed, which is one of my other businesses that I own with a photographer, we have courses, and then we had digital guides on like locations. These location guides took us probably longer than the courses took us to make. Like they took us so long to gather all the info, to make it look correct, to like fact check everything, to link everything. I mean, they seriously took so much damn time. I was so annoyed by the end of them. They would not sell for like $90. They just would not sell. So then we put them on sale for $49. And they still, we'd maybe sell like maybe 5 a month or something. Like even during our holiday sales, we would not sell them. And it's because we weren't like consistently talking about them and consistently marketing for them, because you think that you have like this small offer and then people are just going to automatically buy it, but you still have to get the traffic for people to buy it. You still have to explain the value of it for people to buy it. It's just a lot of work.
Huge. Like, yeah, it's like you have to completely dive in. Like when you're saying like they wouldn't sell, I instantly was like, it's probably because people aren't seeing the value in them.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, it's not selling. I feel like the value is really obvious to me, but now I have to dissect it. Now I have to figure out, our language isn't right. Our messaging isn't right. Maybe it needs to be titled something else. Maybe we need to frame it as something else. Like it's just a constant experiment. You can go as far as you want to go. You can do it every single day. You can change language, do tests, do A/B testing, run different ads, try different things for organic, or you could work on it once a week, or you can work on it once a month, but it is going to be whatever you're able to put into it. And I feel like, and this isn't us by any means saying like, no one should do this.
Right.
Like I love selling digital products, but it just needs to be reframed as like, you can't just like throw this into your business and it's going to pay your bills. Like it's another job that you have to learn how to look at. Like you have to look, if you're used to selling to clients, like wedding flowers to clients, you're now having to learn how to sell something completely different.
Correct.
Essentially, it's just a different business.
Yes. And I think, I literally have an entire shop full of digital resources. There's like 100 on there. And
you can find everything you want. They started at $29.99.
Head over to mancoshop.com and see what you want. But all I'm saying is I have loads of digital resources on there and other of a wide range of prices. Even like some stuff is $12 and some stuff is $70. And it's still, unless I am consistently like posting and sharing about it on Instagram, I'll go a month without selling anything on it. And then I'll go a month and sell a lot on it. It's things like that aren't just going to sell without doing anything. So I think to condense my point, most of what I tell people is like, just don't do it. Don't waste your time on it unless you know that you're going to push it and try to sell it. And you have the audience for it. Because that's the other thing. If you're a wedding photographer and half of your audience on Instagram is potential couples and half of it is, or maybe like 30% of it is other photographers, and then 20% of it, I don't know if I just did all that math right, is other vendors like planners and florists and such. Okay, so if you make a digital resource, who are you making it for? Are you making it for photographers? And if you are, you're only selling to 30% of your audience now. Which is a pretty small pool to be trying to sell to. And then you're like constantly trying to push it. Or are you selling it to couples? And then if you're selling it to couples, are you giving them a product that's going to push them into wanting to book you? Or are you selling them a product that replaces you? I just think there's a lot of dynamic around it. And it's not as easy as people think it is. And it's not going to make you the money. And I don't think it's worth putting the time into, where it can be.
I don't think you should. I would disagree that I wouldn't tell someone not to do it, but I would say let's evaluate, like, if they're not happy with what they're doing, and they have an expertise that, like, in what they're doing that they could make money on in a different way. To me, it's more like, are you willing to go through the period of time and effort it's going to take to not get feedback? Because you're going to launch it and you're probably going to get 2 sales, and that's okay. You just have to, like, you're going to have to keep going for it to ever. And so what's, I think, bothersome is, and I can't say that this person's who's doing this digital course is selling like a get rich quick scheme, but a lot of the people who are like, just start making digital courses, it feels like a get rich quick scheme. That's not true. It's like, no, you're not going to be making 7 figures in the next 12 months. Like,
agreed. Yes.
You can eventually, I think, but, it's more like, do you have the capacity to really go all in, and do you have the thick skin a lot of disappointment along the way.
Yes. And that's all I'm saying. If you're not ready for those things, if you're not ready to market really hard and you're not ready to like literally dive into what it takes to sell a product as well, then I think that there could be better ways to try to make additional income. Because I think where a lot of people in the creative industry and the wedding industry, especially, you know, speaking to my audience probably, it is, you know, they go through like a slow season and so they're like, how do I supplement my income? How do I make some money during my slow season? And I guess, and to your point, I'm saying, unless you're willing to like really dive in on selling whatever this digital course or this digital product is, and you have the audience to sell it to, and you know that you're going to put the time into marketing and creating it, don't waste your time on it, because if you can't handle the disappointment of it only making 2 sales in its first week, then it's not worth the time and disappointment, where we could find somewhere else to put your time in order to try and make, you know, to supplement your income during slow season, basically. I think there's other things you can do besides coming out with a digital course.
What would you say to, let's say, planners who are wanting to supplement their incomes? Like, what is your general advice besides something like digital products?
Honestly, I think what planners should do, and assuming the planner is also a designer, I think that they should offer their services and push their services more for like holiday parties, or they should reach out to photographers and offer to like, you know, for a very discounted rate, style a shoot or plan a shoot for a photographer. I think they can, honestly, styling photo shoots is a very underutilized service that a lot of planners don't do. I mean, photographers need shoots all the time. Photographers, florists, people need portfolio work. And so for you to reach out to someone and say like, hey, for $500, like I'll plan you a shoot. If you're just looking for supplemental income, if you think about that, if you're willing to put in, okay, so you're going to end up putting in easily 20 hours to create a digital product, a guide or something online, easily 20 hours. Well, you're probably going to put in 20 hours to plan a shoot for a photographer too. And you could make $500 off of doing that for a photographer and potentially get to use that content as well. Or you could, I don't know, if you sell a digital product for $15, then you're going to have to make, how many sales would that be to get to $500?
50-ish, 10.
Yeah. So I'm just, if you look at like the time and energy you're going to have to put into both of those and which one gets you the most, the quickest, I think instead of trying to do what everyone else is telling you to do to create quote unquote passive income, why don't you take the skills you have and just find different ways to branch out and do it in smaller doses where you're getting more out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's 2 sides to that, because again, like if you have the time and willingness and thick skin to start a digital product and work on it for a year, I think in the end, it's going to, I think potentially you'll make more money on it eventually. But again, it's going to be like a year or more of focusing on a brand new business. Whereas if you're a planner and you can do holiday stuff, you're not having to rebrand, you're not having to market something completely new. You have the audience already, you have the connections. So it's not that may not be as scalable, but at the same time, it's also like you're not having to build a whole new business. So I think there's like 2 sides of it. For florists, I think it's always smart for there to be some kind of subscription component to your business. So for florists, I really love the idea of like one day a week they, do flowers for a restaurant or, hotels, and just gradually building up accounts so that there is no slow season. And generally those businesses will utilize you more in the holidays for events and stuff. So I think it's always nice to incorporate that subscription model into your floral design business. If you're any kind of creative, if there's anything you can offer on a regular basis or with businesses instead of just engaged couples, like working with businesses you won't have as much of a slow season.
Yeah. I was thinking, I'm now going through like every creative profession that I can think of. And I have a good friend who owns a photo booth company. And I was thinking, even as a photo booth owner, you could set up like mini sessions for headshots. Like, how many people or teams need headshots? And as a photo booth company, you have like a great camera setup and you have backdrops. Like, you could do headshot. You could literally reach out to different companies and say like, hey, we're offering this, headshot package or whatever.
Right.
Or obviously photographers, I think, can get a little bit crazier with what they offer. I mean, as far as taking photos, you could reach out to hotels, you could reach out to couples just for engagement sessions, maternity sessions, new baby sessions. I mean, everyone wants photos of everything they do in their life. So
yeah,
start marketing to all the different things. What other professions are there?
Well, I think also like whatever profession you are, the clientele that's most likely to buy from you are the people who have already bought from you. And I think there's a lot of different ways to keep serving them. And so I would look at who are all the people you served and like, how can you continue to serve them? So, there's a lot of wedding professionals and creatives. So for florists, I'll say, for every single couple, like they're still going to be celebrating anniversaries and birthdays and holidays. Like, this should be an email list that you are compiling over time. If you're doing 30 weddings year, in a few years, you'll have over 100 people who have made a huge purchase with you. So they are very likely to buy from you continually.
Yeah.
So setting up subscriptions and figuring out how you can keep serving those people would be my ideal thing. Like if you're a baker or a cake artist, I don't know, what do cake people call themselves?
I don't know. I think we had this conversation in our last podcast too. We should probably just put something out and say, what would you like to be called? So we can start referring.
I've been calling them cake artists. I'm making a course on Reels that's going to be for creatives. And I'm like addressing each creative. And that's what I call them. I'm like, a cake artist. I feel like that can't be insulting to you. I don't know. I feel like a baker is like somewhat insulting to the artistry, but maybe it's not.
So no, I a cake artist. Although they sometimes do other things besides cakes. So
yeah.
A cake artist is safe. I'll give you that.
But let's just say you're a cake artist and you do, wedding cakes. Well, these people are still celebrating with delicious treats for the rest of their lives. So like get their birthdays, like on their form, ask for their birthday when they initially inquire, when they initially book with you. And then when it's, 3 weeks before their birthday, email the other person in the marriage and see if you want to surprise your wife with a cake in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like you can put these kinds of systems in so that you are constantly like holidays, email your entire list that you're doing a special thing for past clients that only past clients can get these beautiful holiday cakes from you or whatever. Like there's so many ways to utilize that list of people who have bought from you.
Yep. Absolutely. Can we think of any other?
We're done. Bye-bye.
We're done. Bye-bye.
We don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
I don't like small talk.
Well, that was the end of all the good stuff.
I feel like that's about it.
All right, let's close out by, we haven't done this one in a while. Let's talk about things we're ditching this week.
Okay, so what I am ditching is let me give you a tiny bit of backstory. I live in a tiny town in Texas. I'm very much not a mainstream kind of gal. And I've decided I want to homeschool my son. And by homeschool, I mean, I will not be homeschooling him. And what I mean by homeschool is unschool. I'm basically not going to teach him anything. Because I just think it's a lot of wasted time in the classroom when he could be digging a hole and like dissecting a squirrel that he did not kill. He will find it dead. I'm talking about my own childhood here, by the way.
Did you kill a squirrel when you were a child?
I never killed one, but I lived in a neighborhood where for some reason, it was probably like pesticides or something. I would find them dead and then I would dissect them.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I went to a normal public school and wasted a ton of time just sitting in a classroom trying to memorize shit that I don't know today.
Absolutely.
And I got bullied a lot. And there was some really inappropriate stuff. I don't know. It's too many kids to manage.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I'm not like blaming even the system. It's like, it's set up in a way like can it succeed? And if it works for you, it works for you. No shade. But I just think I would feel better with my son who's wild to just let him continue to be wild. So anyway, what I'm ditching is I've identified I have this belief like that I can't find anyone in my tiny town with children who might be on the same page as me.
Mm-hmm.
And or like a tutor or a guide or like someone who can help me with this homeschooling experience. I feel like that person isn't out there. And so I'm like letting go of that belief. I'm ditching that belief. I'm fully ready to receive them into my life. Please, you are welcome. And I'm going to just assume they are there. And I'm so, I don't know, that may or may not resonate with people listening, but I actually was doing this meditation on the way to meeting my mom with Django yesterday for brunch. And we sat down and it like clicked when I was driving that I like have made this assumption and that I can't find this person. Therefore, I'm not going to, because if you don't believe something's possible, like you're not going to.
Yeah.
And so I let go of it and I was like, okay, I'm going to welcome, maybe I'll meet them at this restaurant. And we sat down and literally 30 seconds in, this woman got up from her table and came right up to me and she goes, "Are you local?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Where does your son go to school?" I was just like, the way I looked at her, she was like, "I'm sorry if that's kind of weird." I was like, "No, that's fine." I was like shocked. It didn't go that path, but I kind of wondered if it was like the universe giving me a little wink or something.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, yeah, I think that's a really good thing to get rid of. Also, you live like you're what, like an hour outside of Austin? Like Austin.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to have to commute. Like I want them to be.
I know, but some people,
local.
like the person who wants to do that wants to do that though.
Yeah.
You know, like a person who wants that job doesn't care if they have to drive 45 minutes for it. Like that's the job they want.
That's true.
You're not looking for someone who's like wanting to get this job as a last resort or because they couldn't get anything else. And so they don't really want to drive 45 minutes. You want the person who's stoked to be with Django and wants to drive 40 minutes.
I think I'm just envisioning that they're very close because I just want it all to feel very easy.
Yeah.
I just want it to feel like easy for them, easy for us. No random traffic situations.
Yeah.
You know, because I have meetings and stuff that.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm putting it into the universe what you want, and there'll be less blockage now because you've gotten rid of the idea that it's not going to happen. Yeah.
And I like to also say that you're not listening to a woo-woo podcast here. I don't know. I'm open to literally everything. Like Jesus might be the Son of God.
Yeah.
Or we might become gods of our own planets when we die.
Yeah.
Is that what Mormons think? I don't know.
Is it? I don't know.
I'm open to everything. I don't have to pretend like I know one way or the other. It's fine.
Yeah. There's no reason you should know one way or the other. There's no way any of us should know one way or the other. We're only on the planet for like 80 years. So
maybe
it's a little crazy to
That's an assumption, Amanda. That's an assumption.
All right. Moving right along. Amanda's ditching this week. It's pretty serious. And pretty woo-woo. Are you ready? Amanda's getting rid of her HelloFresh subscription this week. Amanda finally canceled her HelloFresh subscription. Okay, and actually, I'm just going to say this right now because, I mean, nothing's to say that we won't that HelloFresh won't end up sponsoring this podcast.
I know, I was like, this is the opposite of a sponsorship.
Okay, and I'm just wanting to put it out just because I'm an honest gal, you know? And I think HelloFresh is amazing. I will absolutely sing their praises. Absolutely. And I will tell anyone to try it out. I tried it for a year, loved it, still love it. If I could tell HelloFresh one thing, I would say a couple more like healthy options would be amazing because we eat fairly specific. I'm a pescatarian and we just try not to eat like, you know, cheeseburgers and sloppy joes every night. And if they have like 80 options to choose from every week, and you like choose your own menu, which is great. And it's a lot of fun, and I love cooking. So it's a lot of fun. But if you have a fairly restrictive diet, then you end up just eating the same thing every single week. And, you know, that obviously gets boring after a year. Yeah. So we decided to cancel HelloFresh. And that was quite a process and something I kept forgetting to do. So we kept getting random boxes of food that we didn't choose and we can't eat. So honestly, though, like, I don't eat red meat. I don't eat beef or pork or I don't eat anything. But like Johnny will.
The only thing I eat.
We have completely
opposite only diet. Eat bowls of beef. That's all I eat.
I should be rerouting these boxes to get shipped to you then, because basically HelloFresh only lets you like skip weeks, I think 6 weeks at a time. And so once the 6 weeks go by, if you forget, then you get like a random box of things that they've chosen for you, because they don't send you a reminder like choose what you want this week. And I think by default, they probably go to the cheapest options of what they can send you, which is usually like beef lasagna and then also beef enchiladas.
Anyways, I wouldn't eat that stuff. I just eat bowls of beef. I don't like the other stuff.
Well, I haven't been using any of the other stuff, but I'm like, Johnny never gets to eat beef or steak or anything like that because I don't cook it. And so I'm like, look, all these fun meats for you to eat. So I've just been like meal prepping for it.
It's so fun. Beef and pork.
I'm like, look, you get to eat pork this week. How fun for you. So I'm still utilizing it. I'm still cooking it and like meal prepping and putting it in the fridge so he can eat it. But
that's so sweet.
Anyways, I canceled it. I've ditched it. It's gone. No more HelloFresh. Manda just has to creatively decide on all of our recipes.
Yeah. Welcome.
Which is fine. That's good for me.
Welcome to the world.
I know. Okay, but all of that to say, if you want to try HelloFresh, I think you should really give it a go, because it does make things easier and it's fun.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Okay. I have one more thing I'm ditching. It's these bangs.
Oh, you're getting rid of the bangs.
Yeah. It's just I can't just ditch them, unfortunately. I'm gradually ditching them. Centimeter by centimeter.
I saw a photo of you the other day and they were like pushed to the side. They looked really cute. So you are ditching them.
They're not quite long enough to do that really well. Like as they get longer, I'll be able to do them more. But
I saw the photo and I was like, she's trying to get rid of the bangs. I can tell.
Yeah. It was like one day I was like, oh, look at these. Okay, I'm done.
Bangs are high maintenance as shit.
And my hair is just like, I don't like blow drying it. I have a blow dryer, but I would rather not. And that there's these waves, and it's also like, where are my eyebrows? Like, eyebrows are a nice feature.
You just have one big eyebrow. It's called bangs.
Yeah. It's a 5-inch thick eyebrow. So yeah, I'm ready to see my eyebrows again. I think my eyebrows make sense for me.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Follow Candid Creative Podcast to see Alyssa's journey with her bangs.
For her eyebrows to show. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that's it. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Candid Creative Podcast. If you even remotely found amusement in what you've heard today, go ahead and show us a little love with that 5-star rating and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you so desire. Continue following our journey through all of the modern medias, including Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search for @Candid Creative Podcast. And last but not least, if you're dying to hear our thoughts on any hot topics, unpopular opinions, or maybe you just need some good, solid, no BS advice on what to do in your day-to-day, head over to www.candidcreativepodcast.com and submit all of your deepest and darkest secrets to us. All submissions are always anonymous. Thanks again, you guys. And as always, keep it candid, creatives.